Hello everybody and welcome back to the 10th episode of the Let's Play series, which means we are officially in the double digits for this Let's Play series, which is just crazy to me. And what's even crazier is that it's already October and the next episode is the penultimate episode, which means that we only have 2 episodes left after this one until this whole series is over. And I've got some really interesting things planned for today, as in the last episode, we did finish up pretty much all of the building that's going to be required for this base. However, in this episode, I actually need to hook everything up. I need to build the logic that's going to make everything that we built all fully functional. So as you guys already saw before the intro to this episode, I went ahead and gathered so much frostwood. I've never gathered frostwood for that long ever before, but I got so much of it, and as you can see, I'm at $283,000, which is hopefully enough to last me the entire rest of the series. And what that means is that we're going to be tearing down the auto seller in this episode, which is kind of bittersweet because this auto seller has been part of my base since like the 5th episode, but it's kind of in the way for us to place the sawmills down here, so we need to get rid of it. However, before we can actually start on that, what I want to do is get all of the logical stuff all ready to go. And in order to do that, I need to actually figure out what logical systems I'm going to be building because I haven't really planned that far ahead. I think the best way to do this is going to be to start from the front of the base and then slowly work our way back in terms of constructing the logical stuff. So let's just kind of walk through the whole base right now, and I'm just going to take some notes on what logical systems I'm going to need to build, and then afterwards I can discuss what logic items I'm going to need to build that stuff, and then we can actually go and get it. Okay, so as the player walks into the base here, there's going to be these 2 doors, and I don't think I want to automate these doors as it is just for aesthetic reasons, these doors. They're not really any sort of security, so I think I'm just going to leave them as is. What will need some automation though is this door, because this door needs to be ultra secure because it gives access all the way up into the guard room up here, which is something that we don't want to take any chances with. So we're going to have to build a secure door for this area right here, I'm assuming with some hatches and then also maybe a door bridge or 2 just for extra security. And in order to actually get into the door, I think it should just be a one-way type of thing. So you need to power the door from this side in order to actually open it up. You can't get in at all through this side. And then after that, what we are going to need to do is replace these doors with some hatches. And these doors don't need to be super secure because they only give the player access to like this room here, which isn't too important. So I think all we need is a basic hatch system that can be operated by the person sitting at the desk here. Probably a lever like underneath here to open this door, and a lever here to open that door. And then the player will come into this room, and if you don't remember, this room is where they're going to drop, the player's going to drop all their axes on this little shelf here. So if you have some axes, you just kind of drop them, put them up here, you can grab them later. And so there's no logic actually needed in here besides just this door closing, which will be done through that desk, and then this door opening, which will be done through a lever in the actual security room, I think. It might be a good idea also to just add like a button here so that when the player is done putting their axes down, they can push the button, and that will alert the guards, and then from there, the guards can open this next door. And again, this door doesn't need to be super secure either because there's already this door the player has to go through. And then we get to the main room here, and for this, we're going to need some pretty secure doors, I'd say, right here. Actually, I take that back. We actually don't really need any security here because guards are going to have to come up here in order to get into the guard room, and this is where the security is going to need to be. And then obviously we're going to have to hook up all of these lasers to a system that if they are tripped when the lasers are powered, will alert the guards and put the vault into a lockdown mode. And then the last bit of logic in here is going to be the 2 places where the guards have to flip a lever in order to actually open the door. And I think I'm going to make it so that we need 2 guards to open the door, so there will be 1 button on each side that the guards will push, and if they're both pushed at the same time, the door will open. So that should be all of the logic we're going to need for this, and some of it I know how to do, some of it I don't really know how to do, but I think I have a general idea of how many logical items I'm going to need, so I think what we're going to do now is actually get those items. Also, if you didn't notice already, as promised, I did complete all of the item display stands in here. It took me a few hours. These things are not fun to make, by the way. And in order to make them, I had to go get some palm wood, so I did a little palm wood collecting, and I mean, that went pretty well, I guess. And then I also need some logic, and that's why I've lost money since I was at 300,000 after finishing my major frostwood grind, but now I'm only at 283,000, so I did lose some money buying some logic, if you were wondering. I don't think anyone here was actually wondering that, but if you were, there you go. So yeah, without further ado, let's go to Link's Logic and buy some items. Okay, here we are finally at Link's Logic, and it's time to get some items. Now, hatches are definitely something that we are going to need a lot of. Okay, now that we have all of our hatches, we are also going to need some other stuff, like definitely we're going to need some gates and delays. I'm really not sure how many of each I'm going to need, so I think I'll just get like a few of each, and hopefully that's good enough. Okay, and now I'm going to need some buttons and levers. I think I'll need like 2 levers and some buttons. I'm not going to get too many of them because we can always get these at Wood R Us, but might as well get some while we're here. And then one more thing that I'm also going to need a lot of is neon wires, because I'm going to need to light up everything, which is something that I forgot to mention earlier, but I need a set of normal lights and lockdown lights, and the lockdown lights are going to be red, and the normal lights are going to be the neons, and they're going to be tucked away, so you won't actually see the lights, but they will be functional. It's getting dark out, so I think that's all the logic we're going to get for now, so let's take it outside. Oh, the store just closed, so we're going to have to go back in and grab it. That's awesome. So I think this is all the logic we are going to need to actually complete the build. However, we probably will need a few more bits and bobs, so I'll just go ahead and grab those off camera if I do need them, but I think pretty much we have everything we need. Okay, everybody, we are back at the base. We have a truck full of logic, and it is time to get building. Guys, it's been 8 hours. 8 straight hours that I have been building the logic for this freaking vault. And I recorded the first hour and a half, as you saw in that montage, and I was like, oh, at this pace I'll be done in like 20 minutes. So I just stopped recording. I was like, hey, bet there's nothing else to see, really. I mean, it's just me mirroring stuff, right? Wrong. After recording the montage clip, I took a little break, and I came back, and I spent another 6.5 hours on it. But finally, we're done. I just finished, like, a few minutes ago, and what I want to do is just quickly run through everything that I did, because, oh my, I did a lot. And it might not seem like 8 hours worth of stuff, but once I go into all the details about all the freaking glitching, Let's just do a tour real quick. Okay, guys, so the first thing you're gonna notice that's a little different than before is that I actually have this work light off, and there's light, and that's because I put neon wires all around the base. I lit every crevice of this thing up, and it's awesome. It's all lit up. I don't have to use this stupid work light anymore. And the levers here, I think I discussed these earlier, but basically you flip them. As you see, I wired it up so it controls the door. It's on. Now it's off. Now it's on. Perfect. And the same works for the other side also. I mean, in case you were wondering, it's the same thing. So as you walk in here, you'll notice that, I mean, it looks pretty much the same, although it's lit up in here. And when you press this button, you might notice a faint green light. And that's because this button actually hooks up to a light in the control panel, which we'll get to shortly. Actually, let's just get to the control panel now. So as you see, these doors are currently open. And if we walk up here, we are in the control panel room. Anyways, in the montage, you probably saw me building a little bit of this room, but I've added some more things since then. So obviously we have where the keycard goes in, it will be scanned, and then the keycard comes right out back here if you're entering into this room. This button here now works to open the door, so as you see, I push the button, I have a nice view of everything going on down there, and then press it again, and it all closes up. And the green light that I was pressing earlier is actually, it turns on this neon wire, this green neon right here, so that's where that button hooks up to. And there's an identical button on the other side here, which hooks up to this. And so what these levers here do is that this lever right here turns on and off this door. So as you see, if I flip it up, door is open, flip it down, door is closed. And the exact same thing happens with this lever on the other side. And one cool thing that I think is worth noting is that if I turn this lever on here, so as you see, this door is now open. Anyways, if we go to the main lobby and we try to open this door now, you'll notice that we actually can't. And that's because I've hard-coded it into the wiring of this place so that if one of the doors is open, the other door will not be open. And this is just an added layer of security. So now that you guys know everything about this panel here, let's move over to this one here. And the first lever here is very important. Basically, when the lever is on, you'll notice that this door down here is open. And if the lever is closed, the door down here is closed. And as for the other lever here, what it does is actually unlocks the door, so it makes it so that the vault door is able to be open. It's basically like a general override for the door. So anyways, now we have these final two levers here, and this one is just the lights. I mean, it turns off all the lights. Oh, and you'll also notice that when the lights are off, you can't notice it because of this glass. But anyways, as you see, when the lights are off, the lasers will be activated. And finally, we have this lever, which is probably the most important lever in this whole control room, as this is the general lockdown button. And basically, this locks down the entire vault. And as you see, if I flip it here, it shuts off the normal lights, turns on these red lights everywhere, and it makes it so that all of the levers in here don't do anything. And when the vault is in lockdown mode, the actual vault here, you'll notice that all of these hatches will open up. And as I explained in the last episode, when the hatches are opened up, the items will drop down and they'll actually land on some conveyors at the bottom here. And they'll be funneled outwards into a very secure kind of safe house so that the items can stay there and be protected from any intruders. And so the last bit of logic that I built is actually the vault opening mechanism. So as you see here, there's a button right there and there's a button right there. And in order to actually open the vault, two things must happen. First of all, this button and this button must be pressed at the exact same time. And second of all, that lever, which is in the control room, this one right here, I'll zoom in on it, has to be activated. So yeah, this has taken me hours upon hours to wire up. Again, it was mainly because of all of the freaking blueprint glitching that I had to do in order to get all of the wires in the right place so that they're all completely hidden and not visible to the player, just for that sleek, nice experience. Anyways, I am really sick of building stuff, so what I'm going to do is tear something down, and that something is the auto seller, because unfortunately, I do not need it anymore, although I did spend like 80,000 on all of the logic, which is a shockingly high amount of money. I did not think I would need that much. So yeah, without further ado, let's tear this thing down. Alright guys, can we get some RIP auto sellers in the comments down below, because man, that was pretty sad to tear down. I remember building that thing a few months ago and it's earned me so much money. I don't even know what I would do without it. So again, RIP auto seller, you will be missed, but you had to go because I need to complete this base. Let's get these sawmills onto the top here because I actually want to see what the vault looks like, you know, when it's completed. Oh man, the vault does actually look a lot better when it actually has a ceiling. Who would have thought? So yeah, the vault is pretty much done now. The only thing that I have left to actually build in here is this like painting thing, but I'm gonna save that for next episode. So for this episode's sake, we're done with the vault. Okay guys, well, now that I have done everything that I wanted to do in this episode, it's time to use the rest of the episode for some Halloween festivities. So as you probably know, it is currently October when filming this. It's October 12th to be precise. But anyways, what I want to do is get at least one spooky tree. And one way that I can be sure to get a spooky tree is just by AFKing in this VIP server overnight. So yeah, the plan is to AFK overnight in this server, and then tomorrow morning, hopefully, there will be a spook tree somewhere that we can go and hunt down. So, let's do a cool transition to tomorrow morning. So, as you see, the sun is just coming up, so let's stare right into the sun. Hey everybody, it is the morning. We are back in the game, and there should be a spook tree somewhere in this server. I've been in this server for about 10 hours, so I'm just gonna start by going up the mountainside here, and then we'll go up the volcano, over to the swamp here, down to the safari, and then back over, probably to the tropics if we don't find anything there. So far, I am not seeing anything on the mountainside here. I'm trying to look all over the map since the mountainside is a really good point of reference if you're looking for spook trees. Aha! It looks like I have found the tree. As you see, it is right over there on that rock. Okay guys, so we are at the spook tree now, and it is a very tiny sapling here. I kind of wished it was a little bigger when I found it, but that's fine. We're just gonna wait a few hours for it to grow fully. I think it's gonna be like around 2 hours for it to fully grow. So what I'm gonna do is just keep AFKing in this server for around 2 hours, and then I'll come back to you guys once the tree is fully grown. Okay guys, it has been a few hours and we are back, and as you can see, this spook tree is pretty much fully grown. I think it may not be completely fully grown, but it's pretty much there. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and chop it down so then we can bring it back to the base. And here we go, the tree is cut down. Nice. Okay guys, now that we have the tree down from that rock face, it actually fits pretty nicely into my truck, which means that we can just drive it the rest of the way back. And now it's time to chop up this spook tree, so let's do it. There's the first chop, the second chop, the third chop, the fourth chop, and the fifth chop. Sixth chop, seventh, and the eighth. Now we can feed the first piece into the sawmill, then the second piece, then the third piece, fourth piece, fifth piece, sixth piece, the seventh piece, the eighth piece, the piece that comes after 8. Look at this piece, by the way. It's literally hanging on by 3 micro, tiny little branches. That's actually kind of awesome. So here's the haul that I got from that spook tree. It's not too much wood because, as I said, the tree wasn't completely fully grown. But then again, I'm really not going to be using this wood at all. So, I don't even really need it in the first place. And so the last thing I wanted to do for this episode is get an end times axe, but obviously I can't do that right now. I need to wait until Halloween to do it. So what I'm gonna do for the rest of this episode is just cut ahead straight to when I'm getting the end times axe during the end times event. And if there are any Halloween limited items, I'll make sure to stock up on a few of them, but I'll do so off camera, I think, just because I want to edit everything I have now first. So let's do a cool transition from now to the end times event. So, gotta think about this one. Maybe the moon. Look at the moon. And we're back. It's the end times event, and this video is going live in just a few hours from now, so I really have to go ahead and get this end times axe and get this video up. But I did just want to take a second to look at my base during the end times event, because just look at this place, man. It looks so cool with the dark ambient and the vignette around my screen. It just looks pretty awesome. However, time is of the essence here, and we can't just look at my base forever. So as you see, I have the can of worms, my light bulb, and my bag of sand, and some TNT also. And let's go ahead and get the end times axe. Okay, so we are in the den here now. As you can see, this is where you normally get the rookie axe, but of course, because it is Halloween and it's the end times event, we can go ahead and place all of these things down, and then we'll get the end times axe. Alright, so, as you can see, there it is, the end times axe, and it's coming down right now. Boom, we got the end times axe. I'll just pick it up real quick, and yay, we did it. Alright guys, so I am going to end the video right here, as I need this video published in like a few hours, so I gotta get this part edited and inserted into the end of the video. But thank you all so much for watching, and the next episode is the penultimate episode, which means that we only have 2 episodes left in this series before it's all over, so make sure to stay tuned. Anyways, this is gonna be it for me. Goodbye.